Today I'm going to be going for the Resident Evil Village Platinum Trophy. Resident Evil Village has 50 trophies to obtain, including the Platinum, and lucky enough, I already happen to have 10 of them because I previously played the game 2 years ago. The trophies I already happen to have include Goal, Crafter, Push Comes to Shove, Strategist, Not Liking This, Cynic, Four Lords, Patron, and Gunsmith, and Petty Thief. With all that out of the way now, let's dive into this journey. We start the game off being introduced to Ethan Winters as well as his wife Mia and daughter Rose. Soon after, we decide to take Rose to bed for the night. After that, we go back down to have dinner with Mia when suddenly Mia is attacked by Chris and his goons. Shortly after, Rose is kidnapped and we are knocked out and dragged away. We suddenly wake up by a crashed truck, so we decide to make our way through the snow when we run into a cabin, so we go to the basement of the cabin to check out a closet. After doing so, we hear a loud rumbling, so we go upstairs to see a large hole in the wall. This is where I decide to go out of the hole and make my way to the main area of the game, which is the village. We make our way through the village and we meet a survivor of the attack who gives us a gun, but shortly after that he then is grabbed from above and murdered. Right after he's grabbed, I also get grabbed and dragged beneath the house. Soon after, I end up losing 2 fingers due to a lichen biting them off. I then am put into my first combat encounter of the game. I obviously then end up killing him, but not after suffering from a hit or two. We then head to the shack across from us where we would have to defeat another lichen, which we make quick work of, by the way. I leave the shack after that, then once again I get attacked. But instead of one lichen, it's a whole group of lichens, and basically, I just have to survive about 4 or 5 minutes. After finally being done with that encounter, I would then meet an old woman who tells me Rose was brought here, but doesn't tell me the specific place. Then she just fucking leaves. I am then tasked with collecting 2 crests to open the door. I then very easily find the first one, but getting the second one was very boring in my opinion, so I won't be covering it. I then retrieve the second crest and insert both of them and enter the door. After making my way in this building, I will then try to pull a handle, when suddenly I'd get interrupted by some random greasy man, which also turns out to be one of the 4 lords named Heisenberg, which, if you don't know, it's one of the main antagonists or group of the main antagonists. Heisenberg then captures me and brings me to Mother Miranda, where there I would meet the 3 other lords, which include Lady Dimitrescu, Moriu, and Angie and Donna. They then argue about who would get to deal with me. Heisenberg was chosen, unfortunately, so then he makes me run or I would be killed by the lichens. So I run away and I would get to a point where it looks like I'm going to meet my demise, but I spot a hole in the wall, so I decide to hide in it. Then the trap comes and cuts the cuffs off my hand. After getting out of the cuffs, I then make my way back to the handle. Then I finish opening it and make my way up to the castle. On my way to the castle, I meet the Duke, which is a merchant who sells various of useful items to us. I soon make my way through the castle, then I try to open some door when suddenly I am nicely greeted by 3 random women, and these 3 random women would end up dragging me by my fucking legs with a sickle all the way to Lady Dimitrescu, which turns out Lady Dimitrescu is also all 3 of their mothers. Lady Dimitrescu then decides to try some of my blood. She fortunately does not end up liking it, so she makes her daughters hang me up. Soon I'm able to get myself off the hooks and restore my hands back to health, minus the fingers I lost before to that fucking lichen. Flash forwards a bit later, I find myself spying on Lady Dimitrescu when suddenly she sounds pissed and throws a desk after hearing about what I did to one of her daughters. She then storms out of the room where I would enter the room she was just in. I grab a key and unlock the door when suddenly she walks in and finds me and then throws me through multiple floors. After going through multiple floors, I would open the door with no big issue. Then I would try to open the second door when suddenly Lady Dimitrescu appears out of nowhere to cut my hand clean off, and right after doing so, she also throws me right across the room. I'm able to easily maneuver around her very easily to get my hand back and to finish pulling the handle. After a bit of waiting, I'm able to finally leave, and on my way out, I grab a mask, which is 1 out of 4 masks needed to open a specific door. I do a bit more exploring around the castle, where I'd find a second mask and a labyrinth ball. After that, I decided to head back to the Duke to do my first labyrinth, where I would then get the first trophy, get the ball rolling, for solving the labyrinth. I would then get both of the remaining masks needed and insert all 4 of the masks, and I would finally be able to open the door. I decided to head to the building that was connected to the door, and in the building it contained a coffin, and what was inside of that coffin was a knife. Suddenly, Lady D would appear from behind me and stab me, so I of course do a "no you" move and stab her right back, which would cause her to transform into a monster and start a boss fight. Lady D's boss fight was pretty simple in my opinion, so I was able to quickly make work of her. And for my efforts on defeating her, I would get the trophy That Sucked. Right after getting that trophy, I get my first flask. I also get another trophy, Hunter, for hunting an animal during the story. Since I don't want to bore you with the rest of the story, here are the rest of the story and miscellaneous trophies I grabbed on this playthrough.
So that's who was behind all this?
Captain, I have eyes on...
In the next playthrough, I would try to go for the collectibles, so I loaded up a New Game Plus on a save file, where I ended up getting the trophy Hooligan for breaking every window in Castle Dimitrescu. But I kind of ran into a problem. The thing was that I didn't know if I would end up missing one of the trophies, because I didn't have the Lemmy in my inventory. Like, it was completely missing. I couldn't even buy it at all. But I did equip all attachments on it before on a previous playthrough, and I was unsure if I would need the gun in my inventory in order to get the trophy, so I decided to take the safe route and just start a new save file instead of continuing. While in the save file, I got the following trophies: Squawk Shot, When You Gotta Go, Leader of the Pack, Mathematician, Heretic, Bookworm, and the last one of this playthrough is Don't Trust That Snake Oil. I would then move on to the melee only playthrough. I found it pretty fun and enjoyable too. The bosses were pretty easy to beat, only because I was playing on the easiest difficulty. But there isn't much to cover in this playthrough sadly, so here are the 2 trophies I got. After finishing the 3rd playthrough, I then used some challenge points I have to buy infinite ammo for the Wolfsbane, so I could use it on the next playthrough. I will be playing on the Village of Shadows difficulty, which if it wasn't for the Wolfsbane, it definitely would have been way harder for me than it really was. While playing in Village of Shadows, I then received the trophy Timber for defeating this big guy during the first Lycan attack when he entered the village. I would then breeze through this playthrough without a single struggle, acquiring the trophy Universe's Best Dad for beating the game on at least Village of Shadows difficulty. After getting done with the Village of Shadows playthrough, I would then get the last few cleanup trophies needed, which those trophies include Veteran Gunsmith, Artisan, Tinkerer, Art Collector, and Dog Collector. So I decided to go ahead and play a bit of the Mercenaries to unlock the rest of the maps. While doing so, I ended up getting the trophy Time for achieving a combo of at least 30 during the Mercenaries mode, which wasn't too difficult. After doing that, I would go ahead and do the 5th and final playthrough needed. If I did a bit of pre-planning, I wouldn't have to do an additional 2 playthroughs, which is my fault at hand, to be honest. But in this last one, I would have to finish the game spending less than 10,000 lei, which grabs me the trophy, Frugal Father. I would then load up an old safe where I would grab the trophy, Lucky Number 7. Moving on to the most painful trophy I have to get is Legendary Cowboy, which you achieve for getting S rank on all stages. Getting the S ranks really turned out to be a big pain in the ass, especially the second variation of the stages. Getting the S ranks on the first 4 stages weren't really that hard in my opinion. It was just the second variations of the stages that really got me. Out of all the stages, Factory 2 is what I had the most trouble with. It was the most annoying to do, but also I sadly don't have any footage for the S rank for that stage, which really sucks ass. But I do for the other stages, so let's get into those S ranks. Then for the last stage but not least, I have Mad Village 2, which I surprisingly was able to get the S rank for it first try, as well as that amazing trophy, which only makes me 1 trophy away from the Platinum trophy. For the final trophy, I decided to leave an easy one to do, where I just have to open photo mode, and doing so earns me the final trophy, Photographer, as well as the Platinum trophy for Resident Evil Village. And there you have it, the Platinum Trophy for Resident Evil Village. I personally really enjoyed getting the Platinum for this game. If you enjoyed watching this video, be sure to consider showing some support by liking, commenting, or even subscribing if you want. If there was anything you disliked about the editing, be sure to let me know. I'll definitely work on it. And consider leaving a suggestion on a game I should Platinum next. The next video will definitely be more longer than this. Trust. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.